Persuasive influence, conflict resolution. There were 3 problems I looked at doing. One was holding joint meetings with 2 clubs. And another one was getting authors to keep to their word and keeping to a deadline and supplying a chapter for a book. And the third one, which somebody I wanted to interview suggested, was being owed money, because that was her main problem. So this was the one I featured on as being a real life problem outside Toastmasters. Now, having analysed problems and what you should do, first thing is to identify the problem. I added setting up rapport between the person you're talking to first, instead of starting aggressively, starting as a friend and sympathizing with them before asking them for money. Then listening to the other person, identifying the problem, presenting both sides of the case, which I did, like we heard their side that they were out of work, and then my side that I also needed money. Then we had time limits. If I wasn't going to be paid now, when would I be paid? So I could have asked, can you pay me on payday? Would you agree to pay me when you get the first check? I could have done a worst case scenario. Supposing you pay all of it now, why not? What if you never get another job? But that's putting a negative idea into the other person's mind. So perhaps it's better to look at possible solutions. One thing I have learned from someone who owed me money was they denied that they'd ever lent it to me. So you could ask for an IOU and an agreement when they would pay you before you agree to lend the money. Then there might be a question of secrecy. For example, you might agree, I've come across this one, you might agree to sponsor somebody's membership of a club, but you might say to them, don't tell anyone else, because everybody will want me to pay for them, and I'm only doing this just for you. So it can go the other way, not that you're asking them to put it in writing. On the contrary, you're asking them not to tell anybody about the owed money. Next thing to consider is compromise. What can you do to keep both parties happy? You hear the other person's objectives, you discuss the problem, not the person. So you don't say you're unreliable, you say how much money, how much could you pay? You discuss it as an objective idea, not as a conflict between people. So you don't blame the people, you look at achieving the goal and you assume that both parties want a solution. Then question of deciding, can you delay a decision? Could you delay it, get a vote, get a third person to arbitrate? What is the best compromise? Do they have any other ideas? If you put it to a vote and your friend says they should pay you, but their friend says, well, they can't, do you go to a third person and get them to have the deciding vote? Then savings and economies. Are they saving up to pay the debts? If you have bankruptcy proceedings, you're forbidden to take a taxi or have meals out. And if you're a business, they call in auditors and administrators. So what is the ideal solution? Can you pay half, pay a year's money now, so much a month, so much a day? Can you borrow from someone else? Self-help, what can you do? Take another job, work from home, do unpaid work to get work experience, or pay in other ways, perhaps babysitting for free or making somebody a cake. instead of paying back the £5 you owe them. And then goodwill, what will the other person benefit by paying the money back? Will you be eternally grateful? Will you give them a good reference? What is the best outcome for both people to maintain a friendship? Finally, what are the resources? What are the books? There's a book called Getting to Yes. And of course, this Toastmasters project will give you more ideas. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, our esteemed president, and thank you for helping us with the recordings. Anyone has any feedback, I'd love to hear it. That means you, Shehan, and anyone else listening. Back to you, Edward.
Excellent, excellent job. We learned different ways to resolve conflicts from your project, especially when it comes to debt collection. And now for your second project.
My second project.
Your second project this evening will be
leading in a difficult situation.
Leading in a difficult situation, yes. The purpose of this project is for the member to practice strategies for adjusting to unexpected changes to a finalized plan. Is for the member to practice different strategies for adjusting to unexpected changes to a finalized plan. That is the purpose of this presentation, leading in difficult situations. Our presenter this evening, Toastmaster Angela, is an avid blogger, a published author, an English teacher, and a proficient Toastmaster. Our project this evening is leading in a difficult situation. Toastmaster Angela.
Thank you. To give you the background, I have some slides which I would like to share with you. I'm just moving the slides onto my second screen. And I'm now sharing screen. Do I have permission to share?
Yes, you do.
Right. Here comes screen sharing. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
And I would like you to alternate reading the difficulties. So this is based on an Area A3 Pathways workshop, which I arranged in 2002. The workshop date was half agreed. We agreed that the workshop would take place as soon as possible after July, when we, as a new committee, took over, not in August because it was summer holidays. September was too soon to book the venue and to print and sell tickets and get publicity for the workshop on Pathways. So it had to be October or November because the December period was leading up to Christmas holidays and people might be going overseas. And the workshop was supposed to raise money for the area, so there was no budget for the venue. So we needed to ask all the community centres for September or October. Now I'll go on to the next slide. The workshop was agreed. All was agreed on. We were going to have Anand doing the presentation, but our own club, TCA, our club meeting room, which we had for free, was too small, and other clubs were in community centres which were charging too much for a big auditorium. I spent 2 or 3 weeks going around different CCs trying to chat them up, And by the time I got through to the right person, they all said to me, oh no, it's going to be $600 and you have to book a month in advance. So I was getting quite desperate. Then we got the posters done. I went on to Canva. I had trouble with that because I wasn't a paid member. So I went back to PowerPoint. Then I found that far from not getting any help, every one of the 25 members of my club wanted a change. They wanted the font bigger, they wanted the background different, they wanted the pictures of the people all the same sizes and all facing into the middle. And this took another whole week to redo the posters. Then the tickets got printed. Luckily, the division director came along, but after she'd printed them, somebody said we'd have to reduce the admission price because another group was doing a pathways workshop to rival ours, and theirs was earlier and cheaper, so everyone was going to their event instead. Fortunately, they agreed, the person who did the tickets agreed to reprint them with the new price. First disruption. Edward, could you read? We should be on slide 6. No. Wait a minute, I've got another slide. I must have added later. Okay, there was another disruption. A Toastmaster of the day was appointed. I appointed someone who was very experienced, but my VPE suddenly got all upset. She was a person who was often late. She'd got no experience of such a big event. And so I appointed someone who had a lot of experience of big events and was always jolly. And I thought he would be the person. And she threw a fit and was ever so disappointed. So I got round this by saying that she could be an usher, and if she turned up early, she was the understudy. If by any chance he fell ill on the day or anything went wrong, she would be the TMD. So she seemed happy with this. And every time we saw her, I would say, he's still in the running, but you're still the understudy. You might still get it, and you're still the usher. Right, then we arrived on the day. The Toastmaster of the day said, Edward, could you read what he said?
It's harder to find a language evaluator than a VP.
He said he's sorry he's double booked as a language evaluator at a club. So he's going there instead. Oh no. Fortunately, this meant that my VPE, who was the understudy, got the job. And fortunately, because she'd made such a fuss, I had an understudy in place for this important role. So that was a very useful lesson learned. Always have an understudy for your TMD on an important day. Next problem. Can you read out the problem? Disruption 3.
There is no Wi-Fi. The venue has no strong Wi-Fi in the upstairs auditorium.
Oh no, so what were we going to do? We couldn't cancel the event. The selling point was a hands-on pathway. We'd said, bring your laptop, log in, and Anand will talk you through pathways. So I thought, let's move to the downstairs room. We've only sold 20 tickets. So we had to collect the key to downstairs. Then we found we've got to lay out all the chairs, put the event program on the chairs downstairs, change all the direction signs in the building, collect everyone's hats and coats in the auditorium, lock up the auditorium. Then we got downstairs and somebody said, yes, but in addition to the 20 people in the audience, we've got 10 of us organizing it. Not only do we not have room for the 10 organizers, but it's against fire regulations to have 30 people in this room. So we went back upstairs to the auditorium. Fortunately, by this time, Anand had found out that he could use his laptop and his phone and his Apple Watch as a hotspot, and we were able to go ahead. Next disruption. Phone call from the vegans. Edward, can you read the vegan what they said? We
vegans demand our money back.
The vegan who was bringing his friend as a guest, she was the chief of the Vegan Society. And they'd phoned and said, is there any vegan food? And no, there was a cake which probably had lard or something in it. And they were not happy. Even if it had butter in it, they were not happy. Therefore, he and his guest were not coming, which reduced our numbers to 18. And he'd promised to bring the plates and the drinking glasses, and they wanted their money back. So I said, well, if you're vegans, can you bring us some vegan food? You must have some in your fridge. We'd love to have your vegan food. He said, I can't put it on a table with all the non-vegan food. That's really not on. I said, we'll get another table, specially for the vegan food. We need a big sign. Can you make a sign? If you can't make a sign, I'll make a sign. It will say vegan food here. And we'll announce that we got special vegan food. And then it'll be publicity for your vegan society. And everyone who's interested can try the vegan food, see how good it is. You'll have the vegan food and you'll get publicity for vegan food. So he agreed to come along. Everyone said it was great having the vegan food. And we got the plates and the glasses and we didn't have to give the money back. Oh. Disruption 5. The VIP speaker phoned me. Mr. Poe said, I was supposed to give a 15-minute workshop at the end of your meeting. I'm halfway there and there's a traffic delay. I'm only going to get there 5 minutes before the end. Is it really worth my coming just for 5 minutes? Shall I cancel and go back home? No, I said, even if it's 5 minutes, people are expecting you. You're the VIP. Please turn up. I'm sure even 5 minutes from you, we'd absolutely treasure it. We're looking forward to it. Please come. I was hoping the traffic would clear and he'd come along earlier. He did come along earlier, but Anand ran his presentation over, so there was only 5 minutes. But Mr. Poe, wonderful, Mr. Poe gave a wonderful speech when he said that he went onto Pathways every day because he thought if other people can do it, I can do it. And eventually I'll get to do it. And he said, I promise you, log on to Pathways every day. And at the end of the week, you'll find you can do it. And another person in the audience was so thrilled with his speech, she said, I'm going to rejoin Toastmasters just because of Mr. Poe. So I wrote and thanked him and said, Mr. Poe, that was really wonderful of you to go to such trouble to come to our meeting. Then finally, I had been told, Edward, can you read out the disruption? We
can't afford gift bags and ribbons and paper tags for gifts.
Oh dear. Then I remembered what was done in London when we had our, not a potluck, we put money in and we drew lots, and the winners, I can't remember what you call it. It's just, I've missed my mind. Potluck, like a potluck draw. And the first person is the first person to pick the gift off the table. And everybody walk around, look at the table, looking at the gifts and thinking, that's what I would like. That's what I would like. And then they would give us, money for, it's called a raffle. We'd buy raffle tickets. And this is what we did with the raffle ticket prizes. So I put all the gifts on a table and said, come and look at the gifts that you're all going to get. All the helpers are going to get afterwards. Decide what you want. And then in order of VIPs, first Anand, who gave the presentation, and then Mr. Poe, and then the photographer, and then all the other people, the ushers, and of course the TMD, they all got to choose which gift they wanted. And there was, I stood there and I made a song and dance. I said, what's Anand going to choose? Is he going to choose the notebook? Is he going to choose the bag? Is he going to choose the tape measure? What do you think he's going to choose? What are you going to choose, Anand? And Anand would say, I'm going to choose the notebook. I thought you'd have thousands of notebooks. You obviously want a notebook. Please take the notebook. Choose which color you like the most. And that went down very well. So those were all the disruptions I had. Everyone said it was brilliant. Mr. Poe's talk had made somebody rejoin, and everyone praised me for doing everything despite all the disruptions. I never want to organize a workshop again, but I know that you just have to get an understudy and make the best of it. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day, Mr. President.
Excellent job. Excellent job. Working leading in difficult situations is always challenging.
How long did that last for?
12 minutes, 47 seconds.
12 minutes.
47 seconds.
And how long was the first one?
The first
clicked.
That was 7 minutes, 23 seconds.
Including the little recording?
No, if we include the recordings.
How long was the recording?
The first recording was 1.5 minutes, and the second recording was 4 minutes.
Right. The speech was meant to be a 7-minute speech, so that was just right. Okay, I'm exhausted. Would Shehan like to evaluate your speech? Since I am quite tired, if Shehan is still here. I'm quite happy to evaluate it too, if you want 2 evaluations to compare them. And I'm in an evaluation contest at 3 a.m. So I really ought to do it as well.
At 3 a.m.?
Yes, it's 7 p.m. in London and 3 a.m.
Is it a UK contest?
Yes. Area. I won area Harrovians, and I'm now Harrovians representative in the area contest. So why don't we have 2 evaluations of Edward's speech? All
right. And also I would like to make a feedback for your project, the early one with crisis management.
Oh yes. Do you want to do that now?
Yes, just a small one. I mean, I really love the way that you presented, because it's practical, and even as a person who have been through that experience of organizing a big event, and was it real? Like, did you came up with them, or did you actually have to face them?
No, that was a real event.
Wow, that was great. I really love the way that you handled everything, like saying that you handled the VPE, how you handled the VP, and of course the gift situation that you had there, and the guest speaker. I think now we have only 3 of us today, but I really enjoyed that project because even I got to learn a lot of stuff through that project. I got an idea about how to do the crisis management project in the futures in my pathways, because I'll be having such a project under my pathway. So it was quite insightful, because I think this is one of the best speeches that I ever listened to you, because it's practical rather than having a story, something to do with a very like a decorative speech. You had something realistic. So, and you shared the experience. I think that is quite impressive, because it's very difficult for us speakers to be genuine. Sometimes people come up with stories, they come up with something made up, but you shared in a realistic experience, which I admire. So thank you very much for that. And I think the time constraint would be the problem, because you have to be concise and keep it short to the time frame. Other than that, I think it, and also the slides, I think you will have to work a bit on slides next time. I know you are trying your best to adapt to these technological stuff that we are having, but you are progressing. Believe me, with the 2007 word PowerPoint presentation that you had for Hanuki, whatever, and now you are progressing. So you are on the right track. I think with no time you will be mastering the presentation art of PowerPoints as well in the near future. Congratulations on that as well.
Thank you. Edward, do you want to give me your evaluation now so we can look at the two evaluations together?
Sure. Your presentation on debt collection, I thought was creative. I would encourage you to work on the preparation more. I know we did the recording quickly during the break, and I didn't click an option to record my mic, but other than that, I loved your recording on debt collection, the different strategies and how you can go about resolving conflict. You did a great job there. Your vocal variety was on point. It was interactive. I enjoyed that. And your second presentation, leading in difficult situations, that is always challenging. I encountered that similar situations in the past where you have a game plan and at the last minute, things change. Individuals can't live up to their obligations. There are unforeseen circumstances that throws your planning to awry, and the show must still go on. So I love that you had different scenarios and strategies and alternative workarounds to resolve the issues you were facing with your contest. So you did an excellent job there. I commend you on the use of PowerPoint in that presentation. My challenge for you is, again, we did it real time, as opposed to knowing that I would be reading XYZ at different points throughout the presentation. We did it on the fly. I would encourage you to go over with whomever will be participating in your project prior to delivering the project. That's my only challenge for you. Otherwise, it was excellent, well done. Always have a backup plan, always have an understudy. Great job, Toastmaster Angela.
Thank you very much, Edward, for your feedback. Would you be able to send me that feedback? Have you got it written down?
Yes, I will email it to you. For both of them. For both of them.
That's absolutely brilliant. Now, I'm not sure that I've got the evaluation form for your presentation, or that Shahana's got it. So
I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, you can stop sharing now.
Got to get the whole thing back up. Here we are, stop share.
Okay, I have.
Oh my God, is that your desktop?
Yes, she has a very, how should I say it, busy desktop.
Yeah, a busy one.
All right, I have
crowded. Yeah, sure,
yes.
Go ahead.
Can you still see my desktop, or has it gone away?
It's gone away, it's gone away.
Good.
All right, I have put my evaluation form. I put my evaluation form in the chat.
Wait a minute. Let's find the chat, and then I want to print it off. So I save it. Doesn't seem to be working. Oh, here we go. Now I've got it up. I can print it. Clicking on print. I have to go to the next print, and now I have to go and fetch it. Just allow me 2 minutes.
Is that one? No.
Haven't got it yet. I went to turn the printer on, and now I have to press print again.
Wait, don't print it, Angela. Don't print it. 1 second.
Are you changing to another project?
No, I was going to do inspire your audience. But I sent connect with your audience instead of inspire your audience.
Oh,
I sent the wrong evaluation form. Let me put the correct one. Okay, this is the correct one now. Inspire your audience.
Okay, I'm clicking on print. Now I'm clicking on print again. I'm going to run and get it.
Edward, today the participation is somewhat low, right?
Yes, the participation is low today. It's low today. I think I have to go on an encouragement campaign in the week.
Yeah, what? Don't we have like a proper PR plan or something like that? I mean, at least like someone who can do flyers to make a marketing post or anything like that? No?
Sadly, no. Sadly, no.
Thank you for volunteering, Shehan.
I didn't. I was just inquiring.
We can tackle it together. I have one activity tomorrow, but apart from that activity, I recognize the need that we need to have an active PR plan. I recognize that for the past 2 to 3 weeks, participation has been low, attendance has been low. So
I mean, I'm not an expert in PR. I mean, I haven't I haven't used a lot of Canvas and all, but I think I can help in the ways I can. Like, if you have an idea about this Photoshop and other marketing tools, I will be able to like help you in the ways I can. I'll try my best to like we'll have like a Zoom call or something when you're free, and then we'll do something about it because. I think the club will be beneficial because not most of the clubs would be having this kind of like weekly meetings, and a lot of people are looking out there for more opportunities, just like Angela mentioned.
all right.
Now, yeah.
Yes. Can you put me in the loop as well?
Yes. Yes, we will. All right. All right. So ready?
Yes.
Okay. Which one of you will introduce me?
Okay. Do you have the speech title with you?
Yes. Be like Mike.
Okay. Be like Mike. Right. Today also I'm experiencing a power cut, so sorry about that. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, next we are about to invite our club president for his project speech. Today he will be focusing on inspiring audience. The project pathway will be inspiring audience, and the project title will be Like Mike. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our club president, Edward Young. Be like Mike. Be like Mike, Toastmaster Edward Young. Over to you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We all know the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. 6 times a champion, twice three-peating. It is difficult enough to win 1 championship, but to win 6? Now that borders on almost godlike. One of the great basketball players of his time, Larry Bird, did refer to him as God disguised as a basketball player. So to compare Michael Jordan to God may be blasphemous for some, but for those who competed against him, they would swear by his skill set. Toastmasters and guests, are we like Mike? What is it you do? Are you a plumber? Are you the best plumber you know? Are you even trying to be the best plumber you know? If someone has plumbing needs, do they think of you first? Do they recommend you to someone who may have plumbing needs? Why or why not? Toastmasters, we need to be like Mike. We all see Michael Jordan taking the game-winning shots. We all see Michael Jordan making his free throws. We all see Michael Jordan with the spectacular dunks. But we do not see him in the gym. We do not see him practicing those game-winning shots. We don't see him shooting those practice free throws. We don't see him practicing those spectacular dunks. In the game, he will only hit 1 game-winning shot, but in practice, he shoots 1,000 of those shots, just so that when the opportunity arises in the game, he can hit that shot. One thing is true, whether you are in sports or you are a professional, you must sharpen your tool set. There is no shortcut to success. Just as Michael Jordan practices his game-winning shot by shooting 1,000 practice shots, you too must sharpen your skill set, whether it's coming to your Toastmasters meeting every week and doing a presentation, improving your speaking skills, taking on roles, improving your leadership skills. You must sharpen your tool set. Therefore, when the opportunity arises, you too will be like Mike and hit that game-winning shot because you have been practicing consistently. You have been preparing consistently for that opportunity. That is how you be like Mike. Again, Toastmasters, there is no shortcut to success. So I ask you again, what is it that you do? Are you a student? Are you a studio student? Are you a chef? Are you a very good chef? Does everyone look forward to eating the food you prepare? Are you like me? Do you sharpen your tool set? Do you sharpen your skill set? Are you constantly practicing for it when that opportunity comes that you can prepare the best meal possible? If you're a student, are you studious? Are you always doing your assignments and your homework so that when the test and the exam comes around, you ace it? Are you being like Mike? Toastmasters and guests, if we want to be successful, if we want to achieve our goals and live our dreams, we cannot take shortcuts. We must be like Mike. We must put in the work. Just as Michael Jordan will shoot 1,000 practice shots, 1,000 free throws, make 1,000 dunks in preparation for that opportunity in the game, you too must study hard, work diligently, and most of all, be disciplined and consistent so that when the opportunity arises, you too will be like Mike. Toastmasters and guests, I challenge you all to go forth and be like Mike. Toastmasters. Well, that was my presentation. Now for your feedback. Toastmaster Angela, would you like to go first?
Thank you. A very inspiring speech. Be like Mike. I don't know anything about basketball. I didn't even know that Michael Jordan was a basketball player or whether he was a baseball player. But you repeated the word basketball a sufficient number of times that I got it. I like the quotation, God disguised as a basketball player. I thought that was very amusing. I thought you engaged the audience when you asked, are you a plumber? Are you a student? Are you a chef? I would have liked even more of those examples to be sure that one that affected me would have been there. Pick two or three common ones. I mean, I'm a
teacher, author, yeah.
Yes. If you know Shahan is a student, you've included student. If you know that I'm an author or a teacher, you've only got 2 or 3 people in the audience. It shouldn't be that difficult to include something about each member of the audience. If you've got a bigger audience, you can go round and find members of the audience and say, are you a student like Shehan? Are you the best student? Are you a teacher like Angela? Are you the best teacher? Then we will feel promoted to the whole audience as well as being involved, and the whole audience will have got to know the other members of the audience or they already know members of the audience, so people they know are included, as well as Michael Jordan, who's someone they've never met. It would be quite handy to tell us where we can see. I mean, I thought, is Michael Jordan still alive or is he dead?
He's still alive. He's still alive.
Still alive. Then perhaps you could say, I mean, does he play for the New Yorkers? I've no idea. I assume he's an American.
Yes, he played for the Chicago Bulls.
Chicago. Well, I didn't know that. So you might say he's an American, plays for Chicago, and you might tell us where we could see him. Or you could say, just type in the word Michael Jordan into YouTube and you will find a dozen different videos of him coming up. Or you might refer us to him on write-ups in the New York Times. Where will I go to find out about Michael Jordan? I'm not a baseball player. Why should I know or care or think of him as a hero? I thought it was very good that you said he did something or other 6 times. I wasn't quite sure what he did. But he did
won championships.
He won championships. What? Do you mean he personally won it or his team won it?
His team won it. His team won it.
So,
his team won it.
And am I right in thinking that his team was a loser, or was he a coach?
He was a player. He was the shooting guard on that team. He was the league MVP and the finals MVP for the times that
I don't know what those words mean. You have to explain if you use them.
Okay.
Anyway, I would like to know if and I'd also like to know whether he achieved his first success at the age of 6 or the age of 60. How many years did he put into all this before he achieved his first success? And how long was it from his first success to the big one? That would be quite interesting too. The other thing I would like to mention is grammar and pronunciation. You only had one word which needs a change. That is 1,000 instead of 1,000. 1,000. So practice saying 1,000. Because there are other people who don't speak very good English and might not be able to work out what it is. All in all, an excellent speech. You might also like to add a picture of him.
Yes.
And if you can get a picture of him in the gym and say, I found 25 pictures of him doing this and only one of him in the gym like this. Most people are not looking for that. They're looking for this picture. That would emphasize the point and also mean that in a year's time, I'll remember those 2 pictures of him shooting the goal and being in the gym.
Great. Those are some excellent points for me to improve that particular speech. Thanks, Toastmaster Angela. Toastmaster Shehan?
Yeah, I just wanted to, can you hear me properly?
Yes.
Without the headphones, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Edward, for that wonderful speech. Now, obviously, I'm not going to talk about the good stuff. Angela covered a lot, and commendations. I believe that it was a well-crafted speech, especially the audience engagement is the plus point that I found there. You always try to relate it to the audience, and you directly talk to them because it's all about inspiring the audience. Then you directly ask the questions. I really like about that. But then again, the problem when we are selecting such a topic and a scope, just like Toastmaster Angela found it to be difficult to understand some of the words, technical terms, because if you're not a sport enthusiast, if you don't know about the person, sometimes you might feel lost. And now that's a huge problem that we find in Toastmasters because it's a diverse background, diverse culture. Some of them are from different ages, different eras. So they might not know about these sports and they're not about these sporty kind of technical in that regard. Even I remembered one of the Toastmasters who talked about Lionel Messi once and said, if you don't know about Lionel Messi, you are not living the world.
So he made such a remark, and which is quite offensive, because it's not necessary for people to know about Lionel Messi. But it's important for us to understand the audience. Sometimes there could be people who are not aware of Michael B. Jordan. And so and the problem is, if we go to explain the background within our 7-minute speech, it won't be practical again. So it's very important for us to be careful when we select the idols or the examples that we use in our speech. Now, I would like to talk about the very beginning, the opening, which is very important. Now, in a particular speech or in literature there, we have something called hermeneutic code, hermeneutics. That means you build a suspense before you come to the plot, real plot. You build suspense in the reader or the listener. Now, when you said, be like Mike, we don't know who Mike is. We are trying to guess as soon as the speech starts. We are trying to guess who Mike is. So I believe if you could have an opening where you build a suspense by adding some dialogues, like something like this. 2 hours a day, intense practice every day for that one target. Not just one time, but 6 times. Now, when you're building a conversation like that, audience, the people in the audience think, who's that? They're trying to guess who Mike is. So that would be a good way. It's like all of a sudden you are given this idea, and then you get a good opening, and it will be attentive, it will be attention grabbing, and then we can start a good conversation there. And then you can start with Toastmasters and guests. And that was the story of Michael B. Jordan. Was it Michael G. Jordan?
Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yeah, Michael G. Jordan. Yeah, Michael J. Jordan. Yeah. Likewise, you can build the conversation from their onwards. That will be a good attractive way. Like, I'm not saying a specific a concept, not a specific thing, but let us try our best to make it a bit suspensive there. I don't know whether it's the correct word, suspensive at the very beginning, so that the audience will be hanging on for seconds to guess what you're talking about. That will be a good way to start. And also at the pausing, I found you ask questions. Do you want to be like Mike? Do you think that you have what it takes? And when you are asking these questions, I believe you can move a bit closer to the camera. I don't have proper lighting, sorry about that. When you're moving closer to the right, do you have what it takes? Do you think that you can be like Mike? Toastmasters and guests, be like Mike. Now, I think it's a very good way to use the camera and the screen when you come closer a bit and then talking like this, whisper into their ear, something like that. It's a good strategy to use the virtual space that we have right now, rather than stay in our position in one single position. It's better to move a bit here and there, even if you are seated. That will be a good way to take their attention, and we'll be saying, oh, he's talking to me. That proximity that we have when we come closer will be a productive or an effective way to convey your message. All in all, I believe you had a wonderful speech, and it was you talked to the audience, and the motive, the objective was fulfilled, because you inspired us to think about it, and then you took this idol and talked to us, inspiring us with that story. So all in all, it was great. So I believe for recommendations, I believe the positioning of yourself in the camera, the screen could be improved a little bit. And also the opening, if we can build a suspense by using some dialogues or some sort of dialogues and all, so that it will be mysterious at the beginning, and then all of a sudden say, that's what Mike was doing. That's the Mike that we are talking about. It will be a good way to start. Thank you very much. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day, President.
Thank you, Toastmaster Shehan. I will work on my opening using the virtual space and my conclusion. Those were some great tips for me to improve. I thank you again, Toastmaster Shehan. Yes, Toastmaster Angela.
Shehan has inspired me with a couple more ideas. When you say, do you think you can? I immediately thought, no, I can't. So I would almost rather think you said, would you like to know his secret? Or would you like to be successful?
Would you like to be successful, or would you like to know his secret? I think I would like to go with, would you like to be successful? Yes. His secret, I don't think would apply to everyone. Being a basketball fan, I know Michael Jordan's secret. He befriends his opponent. He develops a rapport with his opponents. And then on the court, he destroys them. While they are all friendly to him, he's playing all out. But because they believe they are friends, they are not playing as hard or as to their best ability. And he's often criticized for that he befriends his opponent so that they don't compete as hard as they would against him. That's his secret. I don't think that would apply to everyone. But he had work ethic that is superior to most people. He would spend X number of hours in the gym working on his game, improving his game. So his work ethic can apply to all of us. So if you want to be successful, you must be diligent, you must be consistent, and you must be willing to sharpen your tool set. Like one of my favorite Toastmasters currently is Toastmaster Shehan, because every chance he gets to compete in a contest, he competes. And that consistency has him well ahead of the curve. I can see him being the international president for Toastmasters in the future.
Wow.
just because of how he's actively competing and winning. Yeah, that's how you be like Mike. You have to be consistent, you have to be persistent. Toastmaster Angela, again, she's a member of 5 clubs. I mean, that's amazing. If you are going to be one of the best at what you do, you must be consistent, you must be persistent, you must put in the work. So I think to go with being successful would be the better avenue, because that can apply to everyone. Your work ethic, what you put in, what you get out. So your work ethic will dictate your success.
I was able to log in at the right time. I was listening to Shehan, and that made...
Hi, Chris, you're there. I didn't see you.
So I was listening to Angela and Mike when they were talking about Belize and South America being a tropical nation, and the power went off, and I was struggling to get back in. So just in time, I got back.
Same here. We don't have power. We have a crisis issue in Sri Lanka, Angela. So we continuously they are cutting the power off, and right now we are experiencing that.
What did I miss actually today? I tuned in and Shan was speaking, and I was like, man, this guy can give me tuition, then I'll be well off. But yeah, I look forward.
Yes.
What we need is a newsletter where we summarize each meeting.
Yes, we need to start working on that. That will go a great part in growing the participation and create interest in individuals, Toastmasters, and guests attending the meeting. So I like that idea. One of the things I was going to do tomorrow is create a flyer and post it in Instagram and WhatsApp. The flyer would simply have been the name of the club, our date and time for meetings, and our Zoom link. That just to get the ball rolling for a PR push, right? Yes, but that newsletter summarizing the meeting and having a mailing list to email it out, that I am all aboard with that.
Yes, well, if you know how to start a newsletter, I can write in it, but I don't know how to distribute a newsletter.
Do we have a mailing list?
What was that?
Not
Do
yet.
we have a mailing list? If we have a mailing list, we can send a newsletter across.
Yeah, we have a mailing list. We can send it out.
And when you say a mailing list, what, an email list, you mean?
Yeah. Email list, yeah. Email subscribers of the people who have shown interest, or list of members of Toastmasters worldwide.
Yeah, even we can, we have this Toastmaster Alliance of group for District 80. We can share them. We share the link in those groups, because most of the time in these groups, they have spam discussing about this and that. I think sending something like a newsletter would be beneficial, and they would be interested in our club as well. And we'll have like a growth in there. But we'll have to work on the design and all a bit. I think if Edward can find someone who can do some designing and work on with Canva, that would be great. Krish, do you know any editing apps like Photoshop or Canva?
I make graphics on Canva, but I have not made newsletter on Canva. We make newsletter, but it is a back-end work. I'll share the newsletter we make. So there, what we do is we attach the links to our website. It's a simple process. So I don't know how we are going to execute this. We'll figure this out. No worries.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. Guys, I want to thank you all again for another great meeting. Yes, we were filling numbers, but it was most educational. I took a lot away from this meeting today. And remember, there are no shortcuts to success. Put in the work, be like Mike, in order for you to be successful. Guys, enjoy your weekend.
And
Thank you.
I want to give a speech. What's the process for that? Do I need to submit a topic beforehand, or how it goes?
You will submit a bio, a brief bio of yourself, okay. 3 to 4 sentences at most. So yeah, for your presentation, so we can introduce you, the title of your presentation. Okay. And the title of your presentation, yes. And the part you're doing, so we can get the evaluation form. But you can WhatsApp me with that information. Okay. And do I need to choose a topic, or there be? Yes. If it's a manual presentation, theme. If it's a manual presentation, you choose the topic. Okay. It is not based on any theme for the coming week, right? No. It's independent of the team. Your presentation may be independent of the team. Correct.
So, Krishandra, do you know? Do you know how to use the Basecamp?
All right, he hasn't has Basecamp access as yet. His funds will be released on Sunday, the 27th. Right, it is still held by PayPal, so it will be released the 27th, which is a Sunday for some odd reason. So Monday, I will process his payment with International, and then he will have access to Basecamp. Okay. So officially, I'll become a Toastmaster member on Monday, I hope. Yes. So next week,
in the Basecamp, everything is there. You can go through the education program that they're having. So they will be providing every details that you need to know about the pathways and how to execute the project.
Okay. I need to find an opportunity to speak on this weekend. I've missed mine today, so we'll figure things out. Okay. Have a good day, everyone. It was wonderful to meet you briefly, and I made it to the meeting.
That is what counts.
And I'll call you, Krish. I'll call you. We'll have our arrangement in the next week.
Sure. Look forward to meeting you. Next week is my birthday, so do meet me.
Happy birthday.
Next Friday.
Oh, well.
Oh, we'll be meeting. Okay, no problem.
Okay. All right, guys. Apologies, I have to run, but I'll be available in WhatsApp within half an hour.
Yeah, same here. So it was great joining you guys. Yeah.
Good day, bye.
Angela, I think I was supposed to be a judge of your area contest. They asked me whether if I can join as a judge, but unfortunately I said no because I'm not eligible to be a judge in the area contest. But I was a judge for club contest in UK, different club contests in UK. They want me to be a judge for your competition as well, the area competition that you are participating today. But I'm not eligible to do that. So area contest I can't still, but I've been participating.
Because you haven't reached the 6 speeches or something. You started level
Yes.
2. You have to complete level 2.
Yeah. I haven't completed my level 2 yet because I'm still new. So I couldn't participate in international speech contest. And also I couldn't judge from area level. I could judge the club contest. So up to this point, I have been a judge in 7 club contests in UK.
Oh, wonderful.
7 clubs. Even yesterday also I had a contest in what do you call PMI UK Toastmasters. PMI UK, do you know?
No,
PMI
don't know.
UK. It's in London. They are having the hybrid contest. Judges will be on Zoom, but the contest will be they are on the location, a specific location, their venue.
Oh, obviously it's not quite so bad for you. For me, in Singapore, I've got to stay up tonight till 3 a.m. for my contest. And
yeah, for me, for all those 7 contests, I had to stay up until 1 a.m. to 3 a.m. Those are the contest time for my time. And for you, it's going to be 3 to 5 something.
Yes, I'm thinking of leaving Harrovians if I don't go back to England. Although I'm very fond of everybody there, it's getting to the stage where it just doesn't make any sense to stay a member. I can still go along as a guest when I'm there and enter contests at a more sensible time over here. How far are you along your Toastmasters? If you do a speech every week at this club?
I've started my level 2. Actually, I thought to myself that I will be completing my first 2 levels in my home club. So, oh God. So I have completed my 2 levels. No, I mean, I'm about to complete my second level. So from there onwards,
right.
I will.
Then you'll be able to judge in contests.
Yes.
At area level.
Yeah. And I mean, I'll be competing in international speech contest after completing the second level, obviously.
Excellent, excellent. I was trying
but in UK, but in Singapore, we don't have evaluations cup contest, and in UK we don't have table topics cup contest. I don't know why
There's no rule. In the olden days, everybody did everything except for tails, which was a fairly rare event.
Yeah.
But now somebody at the top in Singapore decided they couldn't be bothered, or it took too much effort because they were too busy trying to organize the annual conference. I don't know what happened. And I think the areas have got bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's more and more work. And so now there's no rule that says one area should do this or not do that. It's a recent thing that they've decided to not do 3 contests, but internationally, there's only one contest that you actually go through, and that's the international contest, which is a speaking contest. What I think they're missing out on is some kind of contest just for speech writers. They should be dividing people up into speakers and performers in the same way that the actors, they give one prize for an actor and another prize for the director or scriptwriter. I think they should have one prize for a writer of a winning speech and another prize for a performer, because you always get this battle between the people who are the best performers and the people who are the best writers. You're told that ultimately it's the writer, who's, if you're a judge, and you've got to choose between two people, you choose the one who's written the best speech, not the best performer, because speeches are about messages. And I Have a Dream was not about the performance, it was about the message. And similarly, Churchill's speech, "We will fight them on the beaches," was all to do with what he said and not the way he said it.
That's actually true. I don't think that they have that kind of realization when it comes to. I'm sorry, I think I'll have to go now. I'm sorry.
I know the feeling, I had a dog as well. I was trying to get hold of you.
Toastmasters.
I was trying to get hold of you to see if you could be the person doing the speech with me, the first speech, the one with the conversation for Monday.
On Monday, you want me to help you with your speech, the same speech that you did today?
Yes.
All right, 28th, that won't be, okay, 28th, I'm having my club meeting. That's a problem.
Ah, so then you can't do it.
Are you talking about Tampines West Toastmasters meeting?
No, I'm talking about Toastmasters in Christ, which is meeting on this Monday, the day after tomorrow.
What time?
It's the usual evening, 7 till 9.
Yeah, I think they have the same time there for Tampines West as
You're
well.
busy. Okay, but I've actually done this project now, although not as well. I ought to do it again and do it better, because we never really...
Yeah, I think the only thing that you have to worry about is the timing. Other than that, I think it will be a good speech. You'll have to work a bit on the timing, especially when it comes to the second speech. Is that allowed? The crisis management speech, how much the time is allowed for that? I don't think it's 50 minutes.
Hang on, which speech is which?
I am talking about the second speech, conflict management.
Conflict. I think that's 5 to 7.
Yeah, that was a problem then, because you had it for more than 12 minutes.
I thought it was 7 minutes 23. Or was that the first speech?
Yeah, first speech, it was 7 something, but for the second speech, you went overtime, overtime. Check whether it's 15 minutes or 7 minutes for the second speech, where you talk about the crisis management with all the disruption.
The one with all the disruption, is leading in a difficult situation. And that's 15 to 20 minutes altogether.
All right, then you're safe. Then you're safe.
And do you know what timing I took?
12 something, excluding the video recording.
And we don't know how long the video was because the whole thing didn't come out properly.
Yeah.
So, an understanding conflict resolution. No, wait a minute. Leading in difficult situations was the second one.
Yeah.
Where that one was 15 to 20.
Yeah, so I think you'll have to do a bit more in that regard because you had only 12 something. So you'll have, and also you skipped the first disruptive mistakenly. So I think you can work on a bit there so that the timing will be properly right on time. Goodbye, Krish. See you next week then. See you probably. I'll call you. I'll let you know. I had a busy week. Yeah, we'll meet.
So for leading in a difficult situation, which should be 15 to 20 minutes.
Yeah. I think I'm running out of data.
You're saying I should talk for longer.
Yeah, you should talk for longer because I think you didn't get the green light. Green.
Yes, but what I'm supposed to do is to have 5 minutes when I discuss with people what they're going to do, and we'd already done that earlier on.
So you have the 15 minutes including that time in the project?
Yes.
Okay, then we are right on time. You don't have to do more.
So that one is settled, but what I need to do is add photos to the slides.
Yes, because it's very plain and very dull.
Yes, it was very dull. The trouble is finding the photos.
You don't have, it doesn't have to be very like the actual photo. Just take some photos which seems real, but it's not. You can like improvise with something.
Yes, I can show the small room and the tickets and a vegan food.
Yeah, that's a nice thing actually. The vegan I couldn't mention. It's a nice way you handle that. All right, then good luck with your contest and good luck with the project. I'm hoping to see you next week and some future meetings in the upcoming meetings of the District 80.
Yes, well, I think I'd be very interested in your suggestions about PR because I'm the VP PR for Battle Heights Advanced as well as TCA, and I really want help with Battle Heights Advanced. Our next meeting is on Wednesday, the coming Wednesday, is it March the 2nd? Let me just tell you what it is. It's Wednesday, March the 2nd, and I'm featuring St. David's Day, which is on the 1st of Wales. And then the following meeting is just after St. Patrick's Day, which is March the 19th. So will you be able
They're not that significant in Singapore, right? Those are just in UK and Ireland, no?
Oh, but there's an Irish pub, which is absolutely full of people.
Battle Heights?
It's just off Orchard Road, the main thoroughfare here. I saw it before I saw anything similar in London. If you go onto Wikipedia, you will see there are countries and cities like Los Angeles, which have a huge Irish parade.
Yeah, I've seen how they do with all the what do you call that? The small leaves, the Irish leaf.
Shamrock.
What was that? Hemlock.
Shamrock.
Okay, with the leprechaun and everything. Yeah, I've seen the parade.
And now you can buy things online. After I was doing my poster on it, I went on to, I think it was Shine, and they kept showing me dozens of different t-shirts with shamrocks all over them, which never existed in the olden days. There were green hats that you were given away free in all the pubs. I mean, every pub in Britain will have a big thing about St. Patrick's Day. They'll have pints of Guinness and in the same way that Singapore doesn't miss out on Christmas, no restaurant or pub in Britain would miss out on Christmas, not because they're necessarily Christians. Even the Indian restaurants on Valentine's Day do something. Hello, am I alone?